All right, we are live for a Monday night edition of the People's Talk Show. Excited to be back. Looking forward to connecting and have a interesting list of headlines that caught my attention that I want to bring to your attention as well as get your thoughts on it. So, hope everyone is doing well. Definitely looking forward to connecting and find out what's on your radar. And bear with me as I try to work through the kinks of trying to do something a little bit new on my side here, streaming in a more narrow viewpoint, making it easier to just slice up and try to repurpose some things to get to the nuts and bolts of things and share it easier. So, anyway, hope everyone's doing well. If you are new to the community, let me know. Would love to welcome you to the fold, as well as if you're a returning member of the community. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button, show your support for the channel, and hopefully more people are notified and can join us and share their 2 cents as well, because I believe everyone's opinion matters. You just need an opportunity to share it. And so that's how we all can learn from one another. All right. As always, I want to thumb through the chat real quick, acknowledge a couple of people, welcome you to the fold. Any stories or any narratives you guys want to share in reference to what's going on, feel free to let us know in the chat. And then when the phone lines open up, we'll love to hear from you guys directly. And so should be a interesting hangout, to say the least. But we will jump right in. Let me acknowledge a couple people here. We got Paul from Eugene checking in. Appreciate you, my friend. We have, let me just, we're doing too much on my side. Let me pull this out. All right, we got Paul checking in. We got Tim checking in. We got Jay, stock up on food. And it says the earthquake in Turkey is just devastating. Mike, 2023 is already looking eventful. Oh, 100%, man, 100%. And it's unfortunate because whenever I hear about some breaking story, I'm kind of wired to think, is it a staged event? Is it a false flag? Is it a natural catastrophe that is an act of God? Or is it a weather modified event? And given the season we're in and what's at stake here, it's hard not to be suspicious of any type of event that unfolds, and God forbid all the lives that have been lost and probably counting. But I want to share my thoughts on that as well. So definitely feel free to chime in, and we'll look at it from the way we're being told about the event, and then we'll also look at it from a different angle, just to throw out a unrealistic viewpoint. But then again, in this current environment, you never know. So, okay, appreciate that, man. We got Joshua Carpenter checking in. It says, I thought the balloon took out Mike last night. No, once again, I think working with the new computer here, so it wasn't plugged into the hard line, so it just died on me. So hopefully we don't have that same event this evening. But once again, when you're dealing with software, things happen. We have Emma, if I'm not saying that incorrectly, says the UK is adopting a CBDC from 2025. It's on the BBC website now. Yes, I saw that, and I think I shared in the Telegram. So I want to definitely remind everybody, for those who may not know, if you want to stay plugged in on global events, I try my best to cover and scan the airways, and I plug into a lot of international news sources just to hear headlines. And then, of course, I read through some of them, but mostly just share it just to give people something to chew on throughout the day. So if you guys are interested, definitely join the Telegram. We go from there. We got Ed said, Big Mike, what's up? How you doing, my friend? Appreciate you. We got Daryl checking in. We got Tony B checking in. JB says F-22. What we got here? F-22 gets first air-to-air kill. Interesting. Okay, so let me just jump right in, man. As always, want to welcome first-time viewers, as I mentioned, to the fold. And before I move forward, got to make sure I do some maintenance on my side here to help people stay plugged in, for those who might be curious and might be new to the fold. So let me just give you a quick rundown. I try my best to bring as much information as I can and just share my opinion. Of course, I could be 100% wrong, but then again, this current environment, I'd rather be thinking outside the box and, caged within it, and sticking to the mainstream narrative that we're sold. Everything is being sold to us, not unfolded in real life. All right, so let me just, before I move forward, let me just share with you. All right, so for those who might be new to the community, I want to make sure I plug in an opportunity for everybody to stay plugged in as I try to maneuver some things on my end here. So for those who might be new, I got to definitely give a shout out to For Patriots for, helping your brother out in the back end here. So a lot of people have been blessed by being able to prepare with what they have there. So for those who are interested, you can save 10% on checkout at forpatriots.com. So definitely check that out. It has been a blessing to me and mine. Hopefully it has been a blessing to yours as well. And so it's a good way to add to your preps in this crazy environment that we're in. Also, for those who want to, make sure you guys subscribe to the RTD locals page. I plan on doing some streams there as well. They're working on some things on their back end to make it easier for me to stream there. So I encourage you guys to connect there just in case YouTube decides to go belly up, which at some point, of course, it will. And also, if you guys want to support the channel, any help is necessary, is appreciative, rather, to help me keep things going on the back end. And I would definitely appreciate that. And of course, share articles throughout the day on the blog itself. So you can go to r3thinkinddollar.com and check that out. And the dollar IQ test is still in the 60s. So basically, from a monetary historical standpoint, a lot of people don't know the difference between fiat currency and sound money. And it's going to be very unfortunate in the next days ahead as people find out that if you don't hold it, you don't own it. All right. And also have an opportunity to share some very interesting outside the box thinking in reference to some reports that me and my guys over at Future Money Trends have worked on. So definitely want to encourage you guys to get those if you're interested, just to give you some things to think on outside the box if you are interested. So all this information here is found in the description. So definitely take advantage of it if you're interested. All right. So without further ado, let's dive in, man. I appreciate everybody for blessing me with your presence. Yeah, I thought I'll switch up a little bit. I got a couple headlines, of course, about the monetary system. And of course, gold always surfaces when it comes to other countries and them trying to scramble to shore up things on their end. And so I thought I would just switch up a little bit, throw a little gold, a little silver behind me. And of course, to the far left, I got the stock market and the dollar on that side. So just switch it up a little bit, keep things interesting on my side. It gets kind of boring having certain images. So got to keep it moving. Okay, so let me stop ranting, man. Let's jump into some headlines. I have maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 headlines real quick. I'll thumb through them and just present them to you, let you chew on them, share my 2 cents on them, open the phone lines, we'll talk and see where it takes us. So, but of course, the most pressing, unfortunately, is the current situation that's happening in Turkey. And so let me bring this on my screen here. So yeah, this, I caught this late, plugged into the mainstream media that much today. So I caught it late, but once again, it's tragic. It's tragic to say the least. But, I just, on the surface, we see major earthquake kills 3,700 in Turkey and Syria. Weather hits survivors. And so first thought is with all the focus right now on the Middle East from the West, I can only suspect that, of course, earthquakes happen. They're very common. But then again, they get hit with 2 of them things within the same time frame. I don't know the statistics. It might be improbable. It might be something that happens often. I don't know. But my spidey senses go off and I automatically think, I wonder, could the earth shaking underneath their feet have anything to do with, could it have had any assistance from exterior forces or technologies? I don't know, but my suspicion would be that anything is probable at this current point. And of course, Turkey, it happens to be in the center. The country of Turkey is caught in the dead center of the tug of war between Russia and the G7 nations. Like, Turkey is the primary focal point for the globalists because of all the strategic partnerships and things of that nature that Turkey has been working with in reference to the Black Seas, all the deals, all the contracts been signed, all the handshakes, and of course the whole NATO situation. Turkey seems to be a hang up in all the further expansion of NATO with Ukraine, as well as I think if it's not Sweden as well, to join the NATO. So I could be wrong about that. I think it's Denmark. Let me know in the chat. Can't think off the top of my head. But anyway, real quick here, I'll thumb through this. It says, and I'm curious to get your thoughts on this. It says a huge earthquake killed more than 37 people across the swathe of Turkey and northern Syria today. It says a magnitude 7.8 quake brought down whole apartment blocks in Turkish cities and piled more devastation on millions of Syrians displaced by years of war. Man. It says a woman speaking next to the wreckage of the 7-story block where she lives said, we were all shaking like a cradle. There were 9 of us at home. 2 sons of mine are still in the rubble. I'm waiting on them. So yeah, tragic. And of course, this is going to linger on for a couple days. And one of the things that I did notice in reading through that article, I didn't get a chance to pull it up here, but U.S. Let me just grab this real quick. I thought this was interesting. Let me grab this real quick. This is more of a fresh article, or not too fresh, but anyway. So here we have the U.S. Looking to get involved and save the world as always, but it says Blinken tells Turkey to let us know what U.S. can do to offer can do after an earthquake. Sorry, forgive me. So here you have Erdogan and State Blinken meets with Turkish foreign minister here. So no, that's not Erdogan. I'm sorry, forgive me. But the whole point was, it is very interesting how this is unfolding right now in the midst of all the craziness happening in the world. More, I can't really say it's a distraction because this is a real world event, which, thousands of lives have been lost, but it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. But it will always be used. This is a crisis that will definitely be used for the globalists as well as everyone who stands to benefit, unfortunately, off this event here. And we will find out how it plays out in the days ahead. But one thing that stood out to me was just going throughout the history of Turkey. As I mentioned before, Turkey's, is a very strategically important country that pretty much can sway either the furtherance of Russia's dominance or the BRICS dominance more into Europe or not. And I think that this will be used as an opportunity to further put pressure on Turkey if it wasn't already, just because I went and grabbed a couple old headlines here, some things that really highlights Turkey's removal of themselves from the Western grips. And so this is an older article here, but it's timely. It says, West is in danger of losing Turkey, U.S. warns. And so this goes back, looks like about 3 years ago, but this has everything to do with the Russian-made S-400 air defense system that Erdogan brought into his country. And the U.S. wasn't too happy with that. So ever since then, there's been buku trade deals and all types of agreements between those two countries, and the West isn't too happy with that. And then here's one that's more recent, as of last week, due to everything happening in Russia, sanction. They're not working. Russia has had more profit than the previous year before this whole sanction stuff. So the West is lying to us, but it's starting to rattle the U.S. because it's not working, and they can't control other nations from participating and still cooperating because they need energy. So here's this says exclusive top U.S. Treasury official to warn UAE and Turkey over sanctions evasion. And so you had to take a little trip over to Turkey into the Middle East to remind them that if they don't cooperate, they will be removed from the SWIFT system. And so real quick, it says U.S. Treasury Department top sanctions official on a trip to Turkey and the Middle East next week, which is this week, will warn countries and businesses that they could lose U.S. market access if they do business with entities such as the U.S. curbs as Washington cracked down on Russia attempts to evade sanctions. So they could lose market access. You lose market access at the same time that they're the BRIC nations and a lot of other nations are already developing their own payment systems and things of that nature. So I don't think that's really much of a scare at this current point, but we'll see. Okay, anyway, just move to some more headlines real quick. And here is something that caught my attention. And I think Steve sent this to me, and it's about a week ago, but very timely, just because the title here, gold, I had to bring that out just because we're going to hear a lot more about that in the future. And so here's just something to show where when countries get desperate, they usually use measures to save their own behinds, and they slip up and expose the usefulness as well as the importance of historically proven, true and tried and tested monetary instruments such as gold. And so Iran's government sells gold. This is funny. Iran's government sells gold coin certificates to raise cash and battle inflation. They're battling their own self-inflicted creation through the creation of fiat-based debt, promise nothings for the future. thought that was funny. So this is an interesting article here, but basically because Iran is so much trouble, they need to shore up some cash. And so what better way to do that other than trying to use a real world resource in the form of gold, create a derivative in the form of a gold coin certificate that they're going to try to put on the market, get people to trust that they'll be able to really redeem those certificates if need be. Not even sure if they're redeemable at some future date, but they're basically putting gold on a table, putting some paper in the middle, and then putting those paper instruments out into the world and saying, hey, help fund us. We need more dollars in the meantime, on top of all the other deals that they have going with the currency swaps, as well as interbank connections with Russia and China. All that other stuff is already there. But just very interesting here. It says Iranian government is taking extreme measures by selling gold coin certificates. And I'll spare you the rest. But so the government said it plans to sell 450,000 of these 2-gram coins on the stock market in the next 10 days, presently near totaling of 1 ton. So we'll see if there's any takers of these gold coin certificates, but my bet would be not too likely. People want the real thing these days. All right, keeping it moving here. Here's another little interesting headline here. I shared this on the Telegram, but appreciate, I think one of the community members shared this on the Telegram, but just another indication of what's going on outside of all the things being shoved on our throat. Here it is from Tasnim News Agency. So I'm assuming it's a Middle East news source. Make of it what you may. It says India ditches dollar to bypass sanctions on Russian oil. Russia. So really interesting. Indian refiners are now using Emirati dirhams, the currency, instead of US dollars to pay for most of the Russian oil they purchase via traders based in the United Arab Emirates, the Reuters report said. And so, yeah, if you don't have enough dollars, or if you don't want to use dollars, just use your own currency. Obviously, what we're going to see a lot more of. So, but anyway, thought I would just share that currency situation. And then here's another interesting article here. I'll refresh this. So this has to do with the whole World Economic Forum and the finance minister who mentioned about being open to using other things than than dollars in Saudi Arabia. And so one thing I found about this article is interesting. It's entitled Saudi Arabia says they're now open to idea of trading in currencies beyond the US dollar. Does it spell doom for the greenback? Three reasons not to worry. And at the end of the day, it's a fluff article. Doesn't say much. But at the end of this article, what the writer of this article encourages people to do is, if you want to diversify and if you're concerned with the future of the dollar, why not opting into a gold IRA, which gives you the opportunity to both diversify your portfolio and stabilize your finances. And gold tends to yield less risk than alternative investments. So I just thought that was interesting how this person probably paid to promote a gold IRA, and they may even have one here. But instead of just saying you might want to have real money, and then of course, hedge with all those debt-based instruments and all those products you've been given, and have something real and tangible. They're talking about, go get a gold IRA, which is something you can't, hold directly. You may not really necessarily own it if stuff hits the fan. So yeah, just a little something worth thinking about. All right, here. So let me stop ranting. And then on this last article here, I thought this was interesting. This is a very interesting article, just because I don't know how to read this, but we'll see how it plays out. It says Bank of America's Moynihan, if I'm saying that incorrectly, says firm is preparing for U.S. debt default. A U.S. debt default. So we got Bank of America said they're preparing for one. How exactly are they preparing for one would be the big question. And how would it impact the rest of the world if it does happen? Won't be too pretty, to say the least. But anyway, if you guys are interested, you can read more for this, read more for yourself in this article. But just some interesting headlines that caught my attention. And let's open the phone lines. Let me hear from you guys. Let's see what we can get done this evening. And let me open this up here. I want to hear from you guys on a variety of subjects here. Let me see if I can get myself together. Yeah, there we go. Let me make this a little bit bigger here. I like having some features here on the back end. All right. So for those who are interested, if you got some thoughts, you got some ideas, you got some things you want to discuss, feel free to give me a call. We'll love to hear from you directly. Hopefully we are not disconnected like we were last night due to, I guess, an internet issue. But yeah, feel free to give me a call. What other subjects are on your mind? What are you keeping an eye on? Feel free to have at it. This is your time to let your voice be heard. We'll definitely love to hear from you, and then we'll see where it takes us. So if you haven't already, hit that thumbs up button. Hopefully, more people enjoy the opportunity to go back and forth and share your 2 cents on things. So feel free to do that. All right, let's take a few calls and see where it takes us. Let me get this going. If it ain't one thing, it's another, boy, I tell you. If it ain't one thing, it's another. So at some point, I'll better get a call in. Forgive me. I'm trying. I really do try. All right, here we go. Man, technology. Hello, caller. Which name were you calling from?
Yeah, hi. This is Dion from Alabama.
Dion from Alabama. How are you doing this evening?
Very well, very well. So a few things I just wanted to, as far as in the headlines with the news.
Yeah.
A couple things I was watching was the EU,
Mhm.
probably already talked about this, approving the crickets in the food. So according to
Yeah.
the articles, the EU cleared it, for just to put it. And that's one of the things that even if it sounds like, even if you were to read the back of the boxes,
Mhm.
I don't think they have to disclose it, like how here sometimes they can get away with not disclosing GMO
Yeah.
foods. I don't know, like, if it's going to be labeled. So even reading the back of the boxes may not be all that helpful. And then
Yeah.
that's one thing. And another food-related item I wanted to bring up was about the eggs.
Mhm.
I think that it's not even just the eggs, it's all the products and things that get made from eggs that we're
Yeah.
going to have to watch out for.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people are like, well, that's cool. I just want to have eggs for breakfast. But it's so much deeper than that when they destroy a protein. Eggs, one of the number one proteins
Yeah. Yeah. Good point.
worldwide to make things with.
Yeah. Good point.
So that's an issue.
Yeah, that's very concerning. But then again, what we've witnessed over the last year or two now, with all the food processing plants, and it just so happens that all our major food suppliers and distributors, as well as manufacturers, happen to have fires. And there's been no major cry from the government or nobody to investigate none of that. It's all, I guess, accidental. So it's deliberate. And the problem I have is that what we witnessed is only within the first year. And as I mentioned before, this is a long, drawn out process. So, if they destroy the infrastructure for our food and, kill the cattle and all that type of stuff, like now, think about 2-3 years from now, like, what will there be? Like, so that makes it easier for them to roll out whatever they want. And majority of people who don't know the difference between that or in desperate situations might end up just taking it because, hey, I'd rather put something in my mouth than nothing. And they, that's how they work things in slowly but surely. And yeah, unfortunately.
But and the problem I have with a lot of it, it's the same problem I have whenever the issue of crime comes up.
Mhm.
Everybody says, well, just get a gun.
Mhm.
And then every time food comes up, we just grow your own food, get your own chickens, buy your own cow.
Right.
And that's okay. But people don't realize that animal husbandry is real. I mean, you have to have a certain skill set. You may lose money on it.
Right.
Initially, you need help. A lot of times you can't do it just on your own out there.
Right.
It's just a lot of factors. So instead of that, the solution really is for people to push back.
Right.
To say, no, this is not cool. We're not having it. Enough of all this stuff you're doing. We see what you're doing. We see you. Instead of always putting it back on the individual consumer
Right.
to solve it by just being self-sufficient.
Right.
Because even when you try and do that, I know people that, recently they have chickens and their chickens wouldn't even lay because of the feed.
Right.
And then they said, well, and then even when they could get the feed, there was a corn shortage, and corn is what makes the feed.
Right.
So we don't have feed, and so it's they can get you 9 ways to Sunday. So I think the main thing is that people not only are aware, but start, like they do overseas, just raising your fist in the air and saying, enough of this stuff. We're done with it. That's why a lot of them got their mandates rescinded, because they're just like, we've had enough. So I just wanted to say that, it's always empowering to listen to you, but at the same time, I think people need to stop putting it on us to be the one that changes everything, because we're just going to be Farmer John and get out there and do everything.
Right. Good point. Good point.
That's not all that realistic.
Yeah, I appreciate you for sharing that. And so it's one of the things where you can be as prepared as you want to be, but then again, like, can you ride it out? Can you make that a lifestyle habit? Because it's just not going to be like, one and done, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year. This is maybe for the remainder of our lives type of changes that's needed, because the World Economic Forum, they're not easing off the gas, and our governments is definitely helping them, because everything that they're putting forth comes from those globalist people. So it's not like it's going to be a quick fix to any of this. So I feel you, man. I appreciate you calling. Thanks for sharing your 2 cents.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Yeah, good stuff, man. Appreciate that call. Yeah, it's it's be prepared. Yeah, it's only so much you can do, and the rest of that you got to put in the Lord's hand. That's how I look at it. I'm not going to worry on things I can't control directly, and that's a lot of things. I'll let what be, whatever will be, and I'll be happy with it. So, yeah. All right, let's move. What else we got here? So I did see out. Let me see. Here is something that looks like it's fresh off the press. I appreciate the community member that shared that a moment ago. It says here. Let me zoom out. It says, I don't know why it's yellow. Give me 1 second here. It says, fears of worsening. I don't know what's going on with me. Egg shortage in New Zealand as fire kills 50,000 hens at farm. There are concerns that the blaze at the Zigo facility will exacerbate a dearth of eggs caused by a ban of battery farming. Interesting. 50,000 hens. Right. It's like, all these fires, like, this is not a coincidence. This is done strategically. They're literally trying to cut off all sources of food, all in the name of, was that going green or zero carbon emissions, whatever they call it. So anyway, appreciate you for sharing that. And definitely we will hear more about that, I'm sure. So, all right, let's keep it moving. What else we got here? Missed some calls. Forgive me to get these calls in. All right, let's go. Let's go. We got here. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, what's up, Mike? It's Joe from PA. How you doing?
Joe from PA. You doing good, my friend? What's on your mind tonight?
I just wanted to get your take on what do you think? I think like, as far as what caught you the most off guard, because I know you do a lot of reading and
I try to.
You have a network, and I'm just trying to see, like, with all your due diligence and everything, what if there was anything that caught you really off guard that had you kind of shocked? And I'll just let somebody else get on the line.
Okay, that's a great question. I'll share my 2 cents. Appreciate you, man.
All right, thanks.
Yep. What what has me shocked or shook, or however I want to describe that. And for me, just take a step back and view this from a much wider and broader viewpoint of what's happening at such a ramped up pace. It's the amount of, anything goes. Like, I'm witnessing just complete nonsense becoming normal. And this goes back to the spiritual essence. Like, I would have never imagined at this point in my life to see the amount of satanic, demonic, pure evil things happening right now. So that's what hits me the hardest. Like, things were going bad before the whole lockdown, 15 days, stop the spread moment. But since then, it's just ramped up to where they just putting Satan in our faces. Like the Grammy last night, Sam Smith, just that Baphomet, that's just craziness. And then, we're seeing just foolishness, like a kid beat up a little 9-year-old child, and he got a civil citation. Like, he just got a spank on the wrist. He beat that shit, and it's kid on kid, but so much other foolishness is happening like that in other sectors with adults. And, people are doing some crazy stuff out here, and it's just like, it's okay. And if you have any moral compass and you express your concerns, you're the person that needs to do some type of therapy or some rehab or something like that. Yeah. So that's what's catching me by surprise, how fast things are transpiring from a spiritual standpoint, to where, we've already been a immoral society for the most part for the longest, but it's really like obvious now to where I'm concerned with how things are going now. By the time we get closer to 2030, mind you, between now and then, it's going to be a major loss of life from the medical stuff, from events that's happening. But, that's what concerns me the most, is the spiritual side of things. How, as I always say before, there's more people leaving this realm of life, surprisingly, suddenly, died suddenly. People just suddenly. So that stuff to me is what surprises me. And that has nothing to do with the monetary side or financial side. That stuff is just, it's cyclical. It's cyclical in nature. It's coming, booms and busts, yada, yada, yada. There's been resets before, woo, woo, woo. But the amount of spiritual stuff happening, man, it's just, you just can't, I can't ignore it. I can't ignore it at all. Anyway, I'm ranting too much, but appreciate the call, my man. All right, let me get some more calls in here. Feel free to give me a call, man, if you got some thoughts you want to share or any takes. Neil says, buy silver and platinum, save yourself. Yeah, it only do so good. It only do so much for you, though. Can't eat that. They should get you some calories, get your food prep up too, ammo and everything else. Just the base. Those are the basics. It's just sheer survival these days, if you can get it. Gold Miner says, we are living in the days of Noah. God destroyed man because every inclination of their heart was bad. Very true. As far as inclination of our hearts being bad, that seems to be the prevailing consensus as of now, from what I'm seeing. But then again, there's still good in the world. You know what I'm saying? Like, as a believer in Christ, I personally, as well as my other fellow believers out there, we are light in the world. So the light is what's holding this stuff really from just getting worse. I mean, because there is a slow, steady resistance, just because there's still a good portion of the population that have a moral compass. Whether or not they are, living or practicing, that's another thing. But if there was no true believers here, literally Satan would just sweep through and have full reign, just because there's no opposition. So there are people who still are able to stand up, and it does happen. There are a lot of good stories of good, godly Christian individuals standing up and pushing back against the stupidity, whether it be for the medical stuff or the government stuff or you name it. So, okay, I'm ranting too much. Oh, if missing calls, forgive me. What else we hear? Why do we believe NASA? John, I personally have zero inkling of a feeling that NASA is a real entity with anything beneficial coming from it. It's more like a money funnel, and it's more so like a Hollywood studio type of setup, in my opinion. Because I really don't believe that we damn sure didn't go to the moon, because we ain't went back since, and they don't know how. And I'm gonna leave that alone. X said, did you check the video of 250 people dumpster diving at Heb Grocery? Check the video out. I did not see that. Let me look that up. Dumpster diving at AG. I'm not sure what Heb is, but let's see what pops up. Dumpster diving. Ooh, okay, here's some. This is no, well, once again, appreciate you bringing this to my attention, because I didn't even see this. This boy here says, chaos in Austin amid power outages as residents seen dumpster diving at Heb grocery store. Okay. It says posts on social media had led people to believe the spoiled goods tossed into the dumpsters outside Austin grocery store was free food. Okay, so I did not see that. Let me see if they play a little something here. If they play a video here, I'd be interested to see how. No, they're not going to show that. That's not the video. Okay, so here's the dumpster. Wow. So this is different. This is different. Dumpster diving. Like, so you see all that. And that's one thing. It's all it looks like it's all frozen goods. And then again, it might be, that's where, like, it just, I'm just off the top of my head, I'm thinking a lot of that so-called food. I see some pizza boxes. I see a bag of chicken wings. It still might be frozen. And here's another thing I've been questioning: the expiration date on items. Just because having expiration dates on items is a 40, 50 year, event. And I don't know the origins of it. And of course, food does go bad, especially processed artificial crap. But a lot of things that have expiration dates used by this date is not really bad by that date. You might get a little life out of it if you needed it, if you wanted it. But because we're so blessed and privileged in this country where we see it expires today, oh, it's no good. Like, my kids' milk, like expired 2 days ago. My son, smell it, taste it. If it ain't bad, drink this. You better drink that milk. But anyway, so yeah, that's an unfortunate story. But I'd imagine a lot of that stuff was probably still good. And so here you got people just out in the streets. You got the police out there. People like, so I'm assuming this officer is not actually getting his own food on here. But that's different. So they literally popos had to come out and stop that. Okay, thank you for bringing that to my attention. I was not aware of that. Okay. That's different. Jay, 100%. Space isn't what we were told. I'm 100% in agreement with that. I really don't think we've left the orbit. That's just my opinion. Have no proof, but then again, the stuff that's been presented to me via NASA as well as what we learned in school, those are the same experts who said, trust the process. Those are the same experts that said it's perfectly safe. Okay, yeah. All experts are paid and bought by special interest groups that benefits them, and they get academia to write dissertations and papers and all types of, accredited, mumbo jumbo, because they fund it, and then they put it out as a peer review research, and they say, oh, it's proven, it's scientific. Who paid you? How much you get for that? That's my question. Anyway, yeah, just fun times, man. This is all entertainment, in a sense. All right, let me get somebody on here. Yeah, I could use a better phone line operation here, I must admit. Hello, caller. What's the name we calling from? Lost him. Anyway, give me a call. Forgive me. I'm a work in progress still. Maybe I have somebody on here. Maybe I don't. Hello? Give me 1 second here. I'm trying to get you on speakerphone, but it's not cooperating. Yeah, it's a pain in the butt. Forgive me. Yeah, I don't know. I might have to stop just because it's not enjoyable when you got to go through all this headache. Forgive me. Give me 1 second here. Trying to get this. All right. Forgive me. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, it's Paul from Eugene, Mike.
Paul, what's going on, my friend? How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing good. Just watching the show. Yeah, I was going to call about, you just mentioned that was that the Oscars or the Grammys, whatever that was last night? Man, you can't make it up. You saw it said brought to you by Pfizer, right?
Yeah. They're everywhere, man. Like, so real quick. I was in the car riding, and a commercial in Michigan, I'm sure it's the same thing in your neck of the woods, everywhere. The most recent, shot is available for you. And if you haven't, and it said, if you haven't had a up-to-date shot in 2 months, you might want to check and call and schedule. I'm like, 2 months. I'm like, I thought it was 6 months or then 3 months. Now it's 2. So it's like, man, like,
yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Crazy.
Go ahead. What's in your mind?
Oh, no. It's crazy. I hear it when I go in the grocery store at Albertsons over the speakers. They're telling you that, you're giving them out for free. And it's just crazy. I haven't been sick since this. I got sick once since this all started, but I never got tested for anything. I was fine.
Yeah, same here. I don't recall. I lost my sense of smell, but other than that, I mean, I kept it moving.
Yeah.
All right, what's on your mind, man? What's going on in Eugene?
It's crazy over here, man. It's like zombies walking around. We got day walkers, night walkers, talking to themselves. Yeah, there's like a lot of homeless problem here. It's not good.
Yeah,
I go on my bike every day, taking my dog on these runs, and I have to go around them. They're sleeping on the bike path, and it's unreal.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, it's your state that decriminalized. Was it all types of drugs, or is that the case? Like,
yeah, I mean it's something like that. It seems like everyone's on something. It's just crazy out here.
Yeah. So I remember, so that definitely doesn't help. My whole point was that doesn't help the homelessness situation if it's legal to do any type of psychedelic or hard drug, light drug, whatever drug you want to call it, because now they can get it easier because you can just probably have it on you no problem. So they're literally trying to allow people to kill themselves directly. Why not just decriminalize all types of drugs and just have at it? Just kill yourself. Go ahead. That's what it seems like they wouldn't mind having the people do to themselves. But anyway, oh my goodness.
No, that's you got it. It's a bad problem here. That and the bike theft here, like the Capitol, getting your bike stolen happens. Like you can't leave your bike in your yard and it'll be gone overnight.
I mean, that's anywhere. That's anywhere though. That's anywhere. You know what I mean? Anywhere in an area where people are roaming the streets.
Yeah, we're like the number one though. I think as far as statistics go, we got the number one bike theft in the world. I think.
Yeah.
All right, Mike.
Appreciate you, man. Thanks for calling in.
Thanks. You bet.
Yeah, good stuff, man. Appreciate the call. I don't know why all of a sudden my phone acting up. Man, it's just one thing after another, people. Man. Let's keep it moving. Yeah, I did see that, Joshua. They decriminalized hard drugs, heroin, crack in BC, Canada recently. Yeah. No holds barred. Just have at it. Go ahead and just, finish yourself off is basically what they're trying to tell people to do. What else? What else we got going on out here? What else is happening in the news? Any other good stories happening that is worth bringing to the forefront? What's up with the debt ceiling? They lifted yet? But I think, you talk about, or I talked about the Bank of America saying the firm's preparing for a U.S. debt default. How convenient would that be? In the midst of all this global contagion of chaos and craziness, we know that debt is a problem. We know that every nation out east is ultimately coming up with a strategy or a plan to get away from this current U.S. debt problem because it's beyond repayable. So everybody's sitting heavy on something that they're going to take an L on. Why not just happen to have some fluctuations with the credibility, whatever there is left in the Federal Reserve system, and use that as a scare tactic to probably threaten the East and say, we gonna, what I'm saying, China, you sitting on, 900 billion worth of, our debt, like we default, you're gonna be left hanging high and dry. So you might want to cooperate because we're gonna take care of things on our end. We're gonna make sure we get the ceiling lifted again, like always. But yeah, we don't know. You might be stuck, with 900 billion worth of nothing. So what you gonna do about it? So it's just, man, this is a crap show, as I always mention. All right, let's keep it moving. All right, let's get another call in. If the phone works correctly. I wish it would work correctly. Give me a second here. I see you on here. I see you on here, and hopefully I can get you on here. Give me 1 second here, man. I apologize having technical issues with the phone. Not sure why, but give me 1 second here. Yeah, I might just, this is annoying. Give me 1 second. Forgive me. Or if I got you on here, yep, I still got you. Give me 1 second. Got to do too much flickering. Once again, more technical difficulties. Hello. How you doing, my friend? What's your name?
Tim.
Tim, what's going on, my friend?
I like when you were talking about how things are getting really nutty out there and with the satanic stuff. And I've been seeing it myself. And I want to touch on one thing that I've been wanting to say.
Yeah.
Is that I think it's since 2020, God's given us perfect sight over this stuff. So I think there's been a lot of this stuff in the background, but I think God's bringing light to things and showing us all this stuff. So kind of saying, hey, look at, I'm over here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
God wants us to see it. So when we finally go see him, he's going to say, I gave you plenty of opportunity to see it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't doubt he's always speaking to us. That's for sure. To me, that's a certainty. He's always speaking to us. There's always something that we can observe and learn in this long faith walk we have. So I agree, my friend.
Oh, sure. And this sure deepens my faith with all this stuff I see. Every day I see it, it gets stronger and stronger.
Yeah, same
my
here.
Faith gets stronger and stronger the more I see this stuff. And and I'm surprised at the amount of people that don't see it.
Mm-hmm. I'm not, man.
I am surprised.
I am not surprised one bit, because majority of people are just completely oblivious to what's really happening, just because either they don't want to see it or they choose not to. It's just, you know, you can just still, those people are still everywhere because they still wear masks. Those are a small percentage of people, but that's the type of people who, you know, unfortunately, they believe what they're told. They believe their government's really, really operating in their best interests. And yeah, but to each his own. I mean, that's all I can say, man. But hey, man, appreciate your calling, my friend.
Yeah.
Be good.
Yep. Bye.
Roris says Nigeria new narrow notes in crisis about indigenous Yoruba and Biafran people on the verge of exiting Nigerian establishment, and election is coming up on February 25th, 2023. Okay, that is some definitely good news there, man. I will keep an eye on that. I tend to cover currency events in a variety of countries, especially Nigeria. I know that. Let me know, Walrus, if I'm not saying that incorrectly. Let me know how the e-Naira is doing. Are people using that or not? Or I hear mixed comments, but I don't think it's widespread at all. But let me know your thoughts on that as well. All right. Oh, come on, man. 1 second. Gosh, dang it. Pain in the butt. Forgive me. Let me get you on here. Man. Give me 1 second. I'll get you on here. What a pain. Hello, Carlos. Where are we calling from?
Mike, it's Mike from Pacoima, California.
What's going on, my friend? How you doing?
I'm pretty good, man. It just kind of just still awestruck that we just spent $400,000 to pop a damn balloon. I got a couple needles around the house, you know. Some sewing needles might have worked, you know. We didn't even need to spend a shotgun shell for that, you know.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering, you know, like one thing I thought, like if when it was above actual Montana and it was working its way down, I'm thinking like, what if they had popped it then and the contents of whatever was inside of that balloon was something that was meant to spread, hit the ground, spread, and you know, we have another, you know, virus type, but you know what I'm saying? So I'm thinking like, you know, it's better to pop that damn thing over water because it'll, you know, not come on land. But anyway, but no, I mean, they should have guided the damn thing down. Go ahead.
What's not stopping it having from like an aerosol tank just and it already did its job?
Right, and that's very true. We don't know because they destroyed all the damn evidence. They blew up the damn evidence.
What I really want to know is why didn't they do this over Alaska? This came across the ocean at one point in time.
Yeah.
Did it not on the West Coast over here? Why did it not?
Right, Alaska to Canada.
And also in the parts of the country that it traveled, that's very, very sparsely populated. You know, there's it's one of the least populated areas in the United States, and they're worried about the farmer's cow. Well, I mean, that's the first time they're worried about the livestock in a while, right?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, I just wanted to say $400,000, man, just to pop a damn balloon. And how much did the jet fuel cost to send up that, you know, fighter jet? Just ridiculous amounts of money for
something
because they can.
It does something doesn't smell right. It's like put it like that. We'll find out in the future, I'm sure, man. But hey, man, appreciate you calling, my friend.
Video.
Huh? Go ahead.
I did watch a video where it was a hyperbole or whatever, you know, but they were saying, well, Blinken was supposed to be out there in China the next day, and that would have been like really strengthening relationships, and somebody didn't want that to happen.
Yeah.
Like, you know. But who knows?
Yeah. Hey, we'll find out the truth at some point in the future. Appreciate you, man.
Hey, if everybody's watching, get those likes up. Let's get these likes going.
Appreciate you. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate it. Yeah. Hello, Carlos. Where are you calling from?
Hey, Mike. It's Dennis from Yashkaba, Mexico. How are you?
Dennis, I'm doing good, my friend. How you doing?
I'm doing great. In Mexico, just wanted to give you an update. Stephen called a couple of weeks ago asking if I was safe down here. I wanted to sell my ranch because the cartel everything's great down here. That's not the reason I plan on selling my ranch.
Yeah.
I just expect deflation because of the population reduction, and I'd rather have gold and be a renter.
Mm-hmm.
What I wanted to talk about is to see if you have any comments on the Wall Street silver fraudsters story. And also, very quickly, I was at a freedom party on Saturday in Merida,
mm-hmm.
which Merida is a city of about 900,000, so a big city in Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, there's people from all over the world, and I was talking about money, gold and silver, and the knowledge from these people on gold and silver was right up there with me, and I consider myself pretty knowledgeable on money. Very impressive. The people were from Germany, France, Spain, Canada, all walks of life, and they all left their countries for very similar reasons that my wife and I left.
Mm-hmm.
So,
hey, that's good stuff. No, but as far as that Wall Street silver situation, I saw some headlines, read through some papers and stuff like that. Once again, it's sad to hear that, James or whatever, Jim, whatever, from what we're being presented with, turned out to be somewhat of a, not so good guy. But once again, his efforts to awaken people to the importance of silver, we can't discredit that, because he brought a lot of people into the silver squeeze movement with the whatever their slogan is, the silver stackers, the gorilla ape, whatever it is. So a lot of people have been brought into silver, and unfortunately he did some things on the back end I'm sure he may not be proud of, but hey, I'm not going to judge another man, but I think when in a bigger picture for the movement in reference to getting people back to silver, they've done a good job. So we'll see whatever happens to him, whatever happens, but hey, that's my personal opinion on it. Can't speak bad about another man.
Yeah, that's a good point. They've certainly educated some people to the cause of hard money. One other thing I'd like your opinion on, do you think the USI government may have been responsible for the so-called Chinese spy balloon? It seems pretty convenient. I mean, that's a long ways for China to launch this balloon to the United States. It just doesn't seem to add up.
Right.
What we're hearing is, China, is the news stories from China. Who knows if they're even saying anything?
Right. We're being told. We're being told we're being told about their response. I can't speak Mandarin and translate from their news sources on anything. So, yeah, that's why I said something else. Right. It is probable that the balloons, because there's more than one. There's different balloons popping up everywhere now, apparently, or something like that. I've seen one over Colombia, and so yeah, those balloons, they don't tell them where they originated from. But then again, what's their intentions? That's my whole point. I think it's more of a distraction designed to start and provoke something rather than actually accomplish something. Because so one of the primary arguments I hear is, why would they need balloons to survey the land when they can just use satellites? So we don't have satellites, or the weather balloons are what they have been using all along in the form of satellites, because once again, I don't really believe that there's as much stuff up there and out there as we've been told, because I just don't believe everything I'm told. So that's just my opinion. So I believe they use weather balloons for satellite purposes as well, and put them up extremely high to where they can be considered satellites, but they're not no damn satellites. But who knows?
Yeah, it could be. It's hard to figure this out if it's like a false flag to get the war party started,
right.
Which is the neocons' ultimate goal. There was a lot of reports that it may have been an EMP attack or something. If you blow it up, it'll ruin all the electronics and things, and maybe that's coming, unfortunately, in this crazy world we live in.
Right. That's one thing we don't know, but we're going to find out. All this stuff is not done for no reason. It's a part of a greater agenda, either to distract us or literally to prepare and test run some things in the future. So that's kind of my opinion, man. But appreciate you calling, my friend.
Thank you. Take care.
Yeah, be good. Yeah, good stuff, man. Good stuff as always. All right, what we got here? I believe nothing in mainstream media reports 100%. And then I saw another little question here. MW says distract from what? And that's something that we're going to have to wait and find out. If it really was a distraction done deliberately just to get our attention, because whenever the mainstream media runs with something, you got to realize that all of them are owned and operated by a very small majority. And that small majority, they are the ones that are part of controlling the narrative that we are being fed. So whenever the news runs with something, there's a reason why they're running that story big time. And so the stuff that we need to hear about, unfortunately, only comes from alternative media people. And as we're hearing more about the WHO and the UN and their cry to contain mis and disinformation, they have a whole nother agenda that they're about to pull out in reference to that pretty soon. So yeah, we'll have to see what that's all about. But yeah, MW, all we can do is prepare and pray, man. Prepare and pray. And also, like, part of like being on the defensive is sitting watching. Being on the offensive is, enjoying your life, still doing what you do best and serving other people, being a blessing to other people, and all the things that, should be a part of your faith walk is what I call it. So that's kind of my viewpoint there. Like, I'm not going to be, handicapped or be contained by all these scare tactics. I'm still going to live my life. You know what I'm saying? Still making plans to do some big things with the Lord's help. So, all right, man. What else we got here? How do we know it was a distraction if you don't even know what a distraction? Hold on. It says, how do you know it was a distraction if you don't know it was a distraction? We don't know nothing, TB. We're going to find out. That's for sure. All right, my good people. We're about that 56-minute mark. Appreciate you as always, man, for joining me and hanging out with me. If you haven't, hit that thumbs up button. Show your support for the channel on the way out. And definitely look forward to doing it tomorrow as well. Tomorrow is what, Tuesday? Yeah. So yeah, definitely look forward to connecting with you guys. Other than that, be blessed, be safe, and I will see you guys later. Shalom.